Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, it's Walter from iWalter again. You know what? It was funny. I was watching Sanguli tonight. It was actually one I seen before. I couldn't remember it. And the one thing that stuck in mind, I saw this one actress in another film named Faith. Excuse me, I didn't think I was going to mess it up that easily. Faith Domergue, because I've been listening to it over and over again, and I wanted to get that in right away before I would forget. Yeah, I believe her name is Faith Domergue, and she played in this movie on Sanguli tonight. It's called This Island Earth, and she is like extremely attractive. Now, this film came out in 1955. She was also in this film with this big octopus in this other film. And, you know, I forget the name of that. That was also a movie that Sanguli had shown, one of these classic horror films. And I don't know what it is. There's something about her. She's like incredibly hot. I mean, I don't know what she looks like now. And honestly, I don't even know if she's not alive. I don't even want to know what she looks like, because it's just going to kind of ruin my fantasies about this woman from 1955. So anyway, it's like a classic film. She's incredible looking. So the thing was, Sanguli, the reason I like watching certain things like Sanguli and Joe Bob Briggs is because, you know what, you can watch a film 100 times, but they're going to bring something to the table that you did not know about these films. Like, they tell you backstories, it's stuff you could probably look up. I just don't bother to do so. Sometimes I do. So this particular movie with Domergue, I think it is, Faith Domergue. Oh, somebody hyphenate. Faith Domergue. That sounds... But I listened to it. I could play this. It's funny you can do this, because normally I don't like stuff playing. But let me see if this works. I'm going to do it again. And again. Yeah, it says Faith Domergue. So anyway, why am I so fascinated? Well, she's hot, for one thing. She just got like a really attractive looking face and, for the time, an attractive body. So she complained about, apparently, they said she was not complaining, but she said, yeah, the costume they made me wear was so tight, I practically really couldn't even wear my underwear underneath. She couldn't wear underwear because it was too tight. And I'm like looking at the costume. It's like, if you consider that tight, I hate to tell you, because years later, you're talking 1955, many years later probably, even like my favorite show, Buck Rogers and some other things, that was tight. I remember, like, that was one of the main reasons I watched Buck Rogers, was because of Erin Gray. And her clothes were so freaking tight, she even said, like, she almost passed out a few times. She could barely walk. And now that was tight, because it's not like elastic, like the material made for spandex. That stuff that she wore was like disco pants. There was no breathing room in Erin Gray's clothes. And there was many a times that I recorded those shows and played those back over and over again on VHS tape for reasons I don't want to mention on the radio. But it was just like, because I was so in love with Erin Gray. And when I got to meet her in New York years ago, of all places, at a comic book convention. That was, and I met her elsewhere too, but that was like a dream come true. I think I met her twice, both times. I think it was in New York at two different conventions that she actually attended, Erin Gray. And, that was like, again, that was a dream come true. I mean, I was like, I met my wildest fantasy woman that I had many intimate nights without her. Well, so to, in so many words or less, I actually, in my mind, she was there, and mind in hand, but that's about it. So I hope this is coming through clearly, because I'm looking at I always mention this every time my voice levels, and they just seem to dive really low. And if I turn up the mic level too high, then it gets a lot of feedback, and it sounds like garbly goo. You know what? I was just so tired tonight because I had taken off for Good Friday. This job didn't offer it to me, so I had put it in myself, and I really needed that extra day. And you know what? It's already going to be Easter Sunday, and then I go back to work again. So that 3 days is going to go really fast. It already has. I just wanted to give people a heads up. I gave a friend who listens to the show that I'm going to play a very large piece from Ken Matthews, a very, very large piece, basically because he had on, and I wrote it down on the piece of paper. Let me dig through my garbage bag, because I believe I just wrinkled it up and threw it out. No, I'm not trying to do the Rush Limbaugh thing. He does that with the paper. God, I can't believe I did that. I threw out that paper. I thought I laid it aside. But he had a special guest on. I actually wrote it on the thing. Dawn Keefer. She is our state representative for Pennsylvania. Dawn Keefer, who I should have just pulled up my icon picture. Yeah, Dawn Keefer. Rather attractive blonde-haired lady. A few years younger than me. She is really good, though. That's the thing. That's the most important thing. She was really good. I heard this thing he had her on about in the problems in Pennsylvania, and it was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to play just a few minutes. I'm going to play the whole entire segment. So that was like 15 and a half minutes. Now, you got to remember, maybe you don't know this, but when you listen to, like I do, talk radio, 30 minutes of actual the person being on the radio, 30 minutes is an hour with the commercials. So if you listen to Rush Limbaugh, Ken Matthews, I'm going to leave it at that because I could go on. The regular broadcast show, 30 minutes of it is commercials. So it's basically half of it is commercials. So I'm surprised that, unfortunately, I guess Ken Matthews is getting a little bit more popular. So I hope I don't get in trouble for that, because it's going to be a half an hour of his show technically, because it's 15 and a half minutes. So that's like a half hour part of the show with commercials. So, and another thing I wanted to mention, and this will help me you won't have to hear me as much. And happy Easter for those who celebrate Easter, and happy Passover for the people who are Jewish, which I don't have enough audience members to even put it out there, but I'm going to do so anyway. It's strange how I'm actually becoming a little bit doubtful with Rush Limbaugh. He keeps on saying, I heard this from other people I listened to, like Glenn Beck. That was one I missed that I listened to. That, this is blown out of proportion, amount of people having the coronavirus, and the media is blown out of proportion, yes. But some of it I'm like questioning, are they really? I mean, yeah, they are definitely digging into this and making it seem really bad, but in some ways I think it is pretty bad. I think it's very bad with the coronavirus. And one thing I wanted to mention, now I was going to try to cut and edit this, but if I do any more from Ken Matthews, since I had off yesterday, yesterday, I was able to listen to Ken Matthews right before work at my old job. My new job, I cannot do so because my new job starts when Ken Matthews, before he comes on by an hour. So I was fortunate enough when I had taken off yesterday, I listened to a little bit, but I was also running the rounds. And he had a lot of good insight. I heard little bits and pieces here and there as I was running around. I jumped in the car and turned on. Just so you know, Ken Matthews on in Harrisburg, I believe, on a radio station 580. I live in King of Prussia, Norristown, which, is way far away from Harrisburg. So how do I get it? Well, for those who want to know, on iHeartRadio, which it is absolutely free. I wouldn't recommend paying for iHeartRadio personally, because I did for a couple months, because I was convinced, because I have an iPhone, that I was convinced that you have to buy iHeartRadio in order to use the app. And I didn't understand it because I'm listening to these advertisements that are so annoying for like a half an hour of an hour show. And, I mean, it's the same advertiser. So it gets really annoying. It's like, okay, I'm paying $10 a month for iHeartRadio, and I'm still hearing all these advertisements. And it was like, you know what, screw it, because I'm going to get them either way. There is no difference with paying money out or not paying money. You're going to get the same radio broadcasting. And if you want to listen to the podcast without the commercials, you get that for free. So it's kind of like a real waste of money. I learned that like about a week or two ago, believe it or not. I've been using iHeart for quite a while. But yeah, that's where you can get Ken Matthews, the shows I listen to, radio shows. I basically tuned it into 580 in Harrisburg for Glenn Beck in the morning. What else is there? You can get all the other radio stations too on there, but I just prefer to listen to that one because I can listen to Rush Limbaugh. And then afterwards, if I had a whole entire day off during the week, which who knows, that could happen eventually. Excuse me, I'm trying to clean my glasses. I could also then listen right to Ken Matthews. Now, Ken Matthews said something, again, I would be more than happy to do so, but I've already used a good half hour, technically, even though it's 15 and a half minutes, on when it was broadcast, it was a half an hour of his show I'm going to be using tonight to fill a big chunk of my show tonight, so I don't have to talk as much and plus people to hear it. But he did say on hour 3, and by the way, Ken Matthews, it's kind of funny, and a lot of these people, these talk show hosts on TV and on radio, are broadcasting from their house because the whole thing with keeping your distance from other folks. So that's kind of interesting. Ken Matthews said that, and his sounded just as crappy as mine did. Not on the segment that he did with this interview with who I just mentioned. I should have just kept her thing up. Our state representative, Dawn Keefer. Yeah, he sounded really good with her. But he had... See, this is the thing the one friend didn't understand. I screwed up with him. He has people like engineers, not engineers that work on cars, but engineers who do the audio, the fix to make sure he doesn't have the same problems I do. So obviously the one day, even the engineers really screwed up. And the show, I listened to his show the prior day, which was Thursday, and it sounded really bad. My shows always sound really bad. So anyway, the thing I wanted to specify, I've said this probably more times than you want to hear, and until definitely I had, turned blue in the lips. I'm being sarcastic, blue in the face, saying that a lot of this coronavirus stuff is by letting a lot of people, undocumented workers, whatever you want to call them, I'm just going to call them right where they are, or what they actually are, which are illegal immigrants who just basically barge in our country and just make it their own, and are very hostile, very arrogant, and very pushy. And they just don't want to assimilate. that are creating and spreading a lot of the problems we have. And one of them is coronavirus. So do you have stuff to back this up? No, but it's funny when I do hear Ken Matthews say pretty much the same thing. Now, my one friend's going to say, can you get me these segments? It's like, yeah, but then I might as well just call the iWalter show the Ken Matthews show. So if you want to look at that, and I'm not going to say who it is, just go to iHeartRadio, Ken Matthews, look at hour 3 of his show, which is only 30 minutes long, and you're welcome to find and dig it up yourself, because you will find him say, why aren't the Democrats pushing the fact that we have had diseases, I forget, certain like TB and stuff, resurface in our country after you haven't heard of any really serious cases in many years. And he also mentioned, Ken Matthews did, that the coronavirus is another thing. He says if you look in the areas where there is more counts of the coronavirus, it's in the same areas that they have sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. Now, if I listen to Rush Limbaugh, he's going to say the complete opposite and state that California and New York aren't as bad as they really seem to, what the media builds it up to be. So I get like conflicting news. That's why you can't always depend on that. But it's nice to hear somebody who, like everybody wants to, somebody who says the same thing that you do, or at least thinks the same way you do, which would be Ken Matthews for me, who basically said the same thing I've been saying over and over again for many weeks. So anyway, I want to get this rolling soon and play this segment, but I'll probably play it towards the end. And if I can get the stuff done I want to talk about, I'll just finish it with Ken Matthews and then just roll into whatever piece of music I decide to pick tonight. I think I picked one called Letter E from Matthew Torrance, music teacher guy. So here's another thing. I made sure to do a screenshot right away on the coronavirus in the USA. It says today it's at 5,029. You might as well say, because it's almost 530,000 people as of today in the U.S. who have the coronavirus, confirmed cases. Now, I don't know if that's high or low, but it said today it went up from the prior day. Let's go globally. It's over 1 million, it looks like. I'm reading these numbers right. So yesterday in the U.S., it went up almost 36,000 people. And then today it went up another 28 in just one day. So, okay, maybe those numbers aren't big. I really can't tell you. So what I was really interested in is, okay, what I'm interested in, how does it look in the U.S. on the coronavirus? So you can pull up, because they have things on my apps on my phone that basically are just for the coronavirus now. And it's under my news segment. Oh, I had turned my phone off because it interferes with my computer. But I do have an app on the phone for local news, and it includes like coronavirus if you want to know what's going on within your area. So I can't look at that right now because I have my phone shut down. But then I looked at, for today, coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. Confirmed cases in Pennsylvania alone. Now, remember, I told you it's like 560,000 globally. Well, in Pennsylvania alone, to me, that seems pretty damn high. In Pennsylvania alone, that is 22,000 almost. And deaths in Pennsylvania are 494. And in the last day, from the last time I read this, they go every day they update this number. The last day, it went up almost 3,400 people in one day in Pennsylvania, and an additional 156 died in one day in Pennsylvania. So you're going to say, well, those numbers aren't that big. Well, maybe they're not. Well, get this, though. You break that down, they go through, I think, all the different locations within the state. all the different counties, and there's a lot of them. Well, number one with the most deaths out of that not so big number is Philadelphia, where that number I just read of 22,000, over 6,000 of those people confirmed with the coronavirus are from Philadelphia. Out of that 494 deaths just in the last day, 130 of them came from Philadelphia. So to me, that's like, wow, that's a big chunk of it to me. The second most contaminated area is Montgomery County, which I live in, where it was over 2,000 people confirmed with the coronavirus and 60 deaths. And then it goes, like the big whopping numbers are also the Lehigh Valley, Delaware, Lutheran, I think it's Lutheran, it looks like that, Bucks County, Northampton, and is the last one with the big number, and Berks is underneath, but then the numbers start to drop off. Now, the amount of deaths in those areas also kind of seem to drop down. The most deaths between two of the counties, or two of the areas, because Philadelphia is not a county, obviously. Philadelphia and Montgomery County have the most confirmed cases and also the most amount of deaths out of that number. So to me, that means an awful lot to me. And you can say, well, that number's not that big. Well, if it's not that big, wait till it hits close to your house. And then you're going to probably consider that number, or maybe you're just so stupid you probably won't. Because I've actually seen cases that show up, believe it or not, in Trooper in Norristown, and that's like saying your next door neighbor has the coronavirus. And by saying that, I actually do have a neighbor and a friend who lives right down the street from me, and one of his family members did actually come up positive for the coronavirus. So, yeah, that's not too far from the truth. That isn't far from the truth. That is the truth. So, being naive about the truth is the problem a lot of people do have. Anyway, I did dig this up. It was on the patch, and it just showed up tonight when I was going to start my show. PA coronavirus surge possibly going to hit next week. Now, I know you hear this all the time. State officials say that they're bracing for the possible surge of coronavirus cases next week in Pennsylvania. Harrisburg, PA, state officials say that they're bracing again for the likely surge. And I could see it happen because people don't listen. I went into the grocery market today. I did order some type of face mask, but who knows when it's going to come. I think the whole thing is ridiculous. I think if people pay attention to the rules and stay off the roads if they don't need to be on there, and keep their distance and don't park their car on top of your fucking car, that could make a difference. I mean, I don't want to come in and I can barely get in my car and I got somebody breathing down my neck or pushing their cart right into me. I heard that from my father and from my friend up in Wilkes-Barre, where people are just standing on top of you like they don't get a clue. Social distancing is out there for a reason. Now, there's a Walmart down the street from where I live. They only allow 20 people into the store at any given time. So there's a line that goes around the corner because the one down the road from my house is probably the only one actually open at this point within my area. Not saying it's the only Walmart open at all. I'm just saying it's the only one open in my area. So that gives not too many people a choice where they can go. Let's see. I'm kind of digging through this. Okay, yeah, because I'm looking at this article again because I want to play this Ken Matthews thing then too at the end of the show, and it's going to go really fast because it's going to leave me less time to talk, and I'm already at a half an hour almost. That PA coronavirus thing. It says as of Saturday, 617 of the nearly 2,200 Pennsylvania residents hospitalized due to COVID-19 infections are on ventilators. Of the state's 4,907 ventilators, 1,465 are used by both by COVID-19 and non-COVID COVID-19 patients. That's my Corvette call. It says more than 37% or 1,652 of the Pennsylvania ICU beds remain available as of Saturday, the database shows. So there's, I don't know. You can read this article. Like I said, it's if you want to really know where it is, it's called Newtown Patch, but it's actually pertaining to Pennsylvania. That's all that that's mainly what I'm concerned about. So there's more to that story, which I'm not going to have time because I really want to fit in the Ken Matthews thing. And that's going to come up probably very shortly. There was an article that I found at the last second also from NewJersey.com. Pennsylvania will keep schools closed because of the coronavirus. New York is trying to do the same thing. What about New Jersey? That's what it says. The governor of Pennsylvania announced Thursday the state's schools will remain closed for the rest of the school year because of the coronavirus pandemic. And the mayor of New York City attempted to make the same move Saturday morning, but the governor Phil Murphy, said Saturday afternoon he hasn't made up his mind about the schools in Jersey. You know what? I preferably would love for them to keep the schools open because I think it's just stupid to close all these schools down because, you know what? These kids have like a 5 or 6, I don't know what it is. Because I'm going to hear, you don't know how long that is until September? I don't really care because I'm not in school anymore. I'm just saying hypothetically, it's almost like 5 months of these freaking kids being out of school and all they do all day and night, and also these adult children who don't work, are racing up and down the street. I went out to my mailbox. There's supposed to be a limit on the cars out there, and I got a woman turning the corner trying to run me over at my mailbox as I try to get the mail. So I got to deal with, again, adult children, and then these kids who have nothing else better to do besides just harassing you. And I just can't wait for that to be done. Anyway, I'm going to rush through these because I have to stop in the next 15 minutes just to be able to fit this in. And I'm actually, again, I said it was a half an hour. It's actually like 25 minutes. Now it's like 27. And the way I talk, that time's going to be used up rather quickly. I'd rather have a show that is 10 minutes short than 10 minutes over. Anyway, it was radio.com, KYW. It says, is Philly the next COVID-19 hotspot? Health Commissioner welcomes White House attention. So my thing is, if it is going to become the next hotspot, it's just because I hear this complaint from not just myself, believe it or not, and my parents, but I hear it from other people at my job and friends who say they do see an onslaught, or a friend from up in Wilkes-Barre, he knows people who saying the same thing. They put up blog boards. We're tired of all these New York and North Jersey people coming in our state and going back and forth and basically just trafficking the coronavirus. Not saying they are, but you don't know because the most heavy, hot spots or whatever you call it, like I call it ground zero areas, are like New York and New Jersey, outskirts of the northern part of Jersey and New York. I saw some article which had named the places that are really have the most cases of coronavirus. I don't have it in front of me, and I don't have time to check it, but you could look that up yourself. If you're listening to me, you have a computer. You can look this stuff up. But there was like 3 areas of New York, and I know it was, I believe it was Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, New York. I thought they said the Bronx, and somewhere else. There was 3 areas that have the most cases of COVID-19. And I saw this article, and they also mentioned places in Jersey, too. So having these people go back and forth like they are above and beyond this COVID-19, this coronavirus, and just traveling back and forth like there's nothing going on is just really endangering everyone's lives. And they just don't care. That's the problem that I have with him. Anyway, it said Philadelphia, a KYW News Radio, the White House Coronavirus Task Force says the Philadelphia region is a possible hotspot. During the daily news conference at the White House on Wednesday, officials mentioned Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia areas of concern. In Philadelphia metro area, where I come from, whoever wrote this article, it's 1,400 cases per day. That's in Philadelphia, this person wrote, said Task Force Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx. This, of course, includes Camden. I can never say that right. I see concerts over there. The counties around the Philadelphia metro and Wilmington. I can't even say that damn word. So the bottom line is, yeah, it's the outskirts, which is obviously then not just North Jersey, but all of Jersey and Philadelphia are like the extremely high areas with the most people with the coronavirus. So there is much more to say about that. My only problem is I'm going to run myself out of time, and I'm not going to be able to fit this segment in. And I'm naming the show, basically Ken Matthews and Dawn Keefer. So I don't want to miss out on that. So, and I only got 5 minutes left. I can talk. Another story from KYW, New Jersey primary moves to July 7th. Murphy issues more COVID-19 social distancing orders. So I misunderstood it. I told my friend Matt, I told other people, I thought that social distancing was going to extend till, in Jersey at least, until July, or what does that say? Till July, somewhere in July. It says July 7th. But really what that is, that's about the primary elections are going to be pushed back, which would be for the Democrats, I believe. Philadelphia KYW News Governor Phil Murphy on Wednesday announced 3 new executive orders on Wednesday at his daily media briefing, pushing out the New Jersey primary election, further enforcing social distancing for workers and consumers, and allowing truckers to transport more COVID-19 relief supplies across the state. So I did send that to the friends, but I don't know if they read after what I said, but it's more about the primary thing, not, the primary elections, and not necessarily that everything's going to continue to be shut down by that point, which I personally think it will be. Alrighty, I only got a couple more minutes left. It was on the station I do listen to. I pulled this article, Coronavirus Updates, and it's the call letters are WHP 580. That's the one in Harrisburg. And that was from April 9th. And that was like a couple days ago, but not that far back. That was like last week at this point. And it basically says another 6.6 million Americans file for unemployment amid coronavirus pandemic. A staggering 6.6 million filed first-time unemployment claims last week as the U.S. suffered another deadly day of coronavirus pandemic with nearly 2,000 killed on Wednesday alone. Now, this is the thing. A lot of these small businesses, I hate to say it, but I hope I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, a lot of these businesses will not reopen, and some of them will suffer more when this eventually comes to an end, because I don't think it's going to come to an end anytime soon. Sorry about that. I apologize about that. So, yeah, I thought I shut all that noise factor down. It may happen again. Bottom line is, this is not going to come to a standstill. It's not. It is going to. Let me start this. I personally think this is going to definitely affect a lot of mom and pop businesses. I don't care what kind of business you have. If it's a grocery market or a specialty business, again, I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to really destroy a lot of these businesses. I think they're gonna suffer, and they're gonna painfully die, and that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying it possibly will happen. Okay. Everybody must have heard this last week, but I don't know how he's doing right now. But Boris Johnson was in intensive care from the coronavirus. Now, he was pulled out. I don't know how he's doing now. I did not do a follow-up, so I apologize. But I just want to throw that in there. I hope not. I'm sure another one's going to start up. I thought I silenced all my other, what do you call it? Anyway, that was kind of interesting. There was a Union meat packing place, East Union Township, Schuylkill County, where I'm kind of concerned because I don't work at a meat factory, but this particular place is a factory. I work at a kind of factory place, and 164 of the workers out of 900 had tested positive for the coronavirus. So these places, like places I work, these people who work in factory jobs, I didn't mention the name of this story, but it says Union, 164 workers tested positive for COVID-19 at Cargill Meat Solutions. I've never heard of it, and that was on April 10th. That was like what? On Friday? 164 of their employees out of 900 had tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, the thing is, to me, what that brings up to me is like they act like, even where I work, they act like they're doing everything out of concern. I hear this from my one friend who works at a retail job, and he says the same thing. They don't give two craps about your health or anybody else's health. They care about the almighty dollar. And that is an issue. So that is a big issue. I might just cut off. I had like a half a dozen other stories. But at this point, for me to read through all those, I'm not going to have enough time to play that segment. So I'm going to read this last one from the New York Post, which was dated April 8th, which would be Wednesday, I would believe. Anyway, New York Post posted, coronavirus kills 1,000 in New York City in just 36 hours. 36 hours, 1,000 people had died, or let's see. The coronavirus killed 1,000 people. That is a lot of people. I don't care how you look at it. That's a lot of people. Now here's what it says. Another 1,000 New Yorkers died in 5 boroughs from the coronavirus in 36-hour period. Between Tuesday and Wednesday night, New City Health data shows. The Big Apple's death toll now stands at 4,260, which was on Wednesday, so it's much higher now, according to the tallies released by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene on Wednesday evening. And it goes on to say more. So, and this might have been the one. Okay, yeah, this is the one of them that does tell you the areas. Queens has the most coronavirus cases at 26,000, followed by Brooklyn at almost 22,000. The Bronx, Brooklyn has 22,000 almost. The Bronx has almost 17,000. Manhattan almost has 11,000, and Staten Island has over 5,000 cases of the coronavirus in New York City. So that's, to me, is really bad. I'm not going to say anything else. That is really, really bad. You can't hide the fact. And I don't want to hear this stuff, well, this is just apples and oranges. This is absolutely nothing. This is normal. 1,000 people die in 3 days. That happens all the time. In one city, though. In one fucking city. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm going to play this now from Ken Matthews. I hope you enjoy it. I apologize about that little... hey, if I don't do any goof-ups to my show, it would not be an iWalter show. So here we go. Ken Matthews interviewing Dawn Keefer, and I will listen to it myself again. And then I'll finish the show out with Matt's, because you won't hear from me again Well, yeah, you will probably hear from me again. I'll just play. Oh wait. Well, I'll see. But here we go. Either way, I'll probably put a final say in there. Here we go right now.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm in the bunker in my home somewhere in PA, and we've connected again through the miracle of technology with State Rep Dawn Keefer. Welcome back to the show, Representative Keefer.
Good afternoon, Ken. Thanks for having me back.
You got so many compliments the last time you were on in my email, and that's why we call you a firecracker.
Okay. All right, I'll take it.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, yesterday the governor closed the schools, but the last time you were on, you were talking about that you wanted the Senate to take up, but I understand they shot it down.
Actually, no, they didn't shoot it down. We got it out of the House Appropriations Committee, and
Okay.
Minority Leader Frank Dermody went on leave, took his Democrats and went on leave, and we no longer had a quorum to vote. So
Okay,
they didn't want to vote, and so they left.
Well,
You want to know why? The business issue isn't an issue for the Democrats because Dermody goes right to Wolf's chief of staff, and their businesses are all getting special Wolf waivers direct. They got a direct
I like
pipeline.
that. A wolf
They're
waiver.
Wolf waivers. Yeah.
I like that.
So it's not an issue for their districts.
Now, yesterday, Governor Wolf, who I call Governor Wolf in Obama's clothing, he shut down schools till the fall. Now, not only what does that mean, but are there other alternatives? I'm hearing rumblings that there's something in the bill that restricts people from going to alternate education. Can you fill me in on all that?
Okay, so it does not. They only close the structure so that you won't be returning to school, but they're
Right.
still doing distance learning, so they can still do whatever they need to. Now, when the emergency education bill was passed 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, that said that you couldn't have any new enrollees in cyber charters. So there's a couple reasons for that cyber charter. So you could.
Okay, so all right.
The school has, if you want to, as a student, you can elect to go to a cyber charter. That's covered. But they're saying no more cyber charter enrollees is what the bill said on there because you're in the partial year and the funding confusion and all of that. They said that was a stop. So no students could make the jump to that. Now, if you're already in cyber charter, you've been continuing.
Now, to me, that sounds kind of fishy. Am I overanalyzing it? It sounds to me like people may want to choose an alternative, and then they may like that alternative, and they may not return. Is that an issue?
Sure, that could be that. It could be that issue, but the bigger issue was it costs the school money. They have to pay that percentage out for every school or every student that opts there, and that would have been a big hit to their budget.
Do you think in your tenure you will see, and who knows how long that could be? That could be another 100 years with the technology, right? Do you think you'll see property tax eliminated in Pennsylvania?
No. We were teeing it up. I had a group, I was put on it was a bipartisan, bicameral group, and we were on a property tax reform committee, and we really had a lot of momentum going, and we really thought we were going to get the first stab of it, which would have given all residentials a 50% reduction. It would have been a tax shift, but they would have got a 50% reduction, and you would have given businesses about a 33% reduction. And
wow.
Then it was not only was it reduced, it was capped. Like you couldn't raise it again without going to a voter referendum. We were guaranteed a vote on that in they were guesstimating about April or May for that. Well, that's out the window now. We're looking at a $6 billion budget cut this year.
Wow.
So
they're going to go to your 89-year-old grandmother to see if they can get some more money out of her from her ranch home.
Well, we just tried to included in one of the bills, we had an amendment that would have been a property tax freeze on there saying, hey, you just can't raise the property taxes. PSEA and the Pennsylvania School Board Association, we barely got the idea out of our minds and onto paper, and they had already did a full onslaught email press. We were all getting spammed with this mails from PSEA, and PSEA is the teachers union, and PASBO is the school board association, saying do not freeze property taxes.
Wow.
So I thought everybody's suffering right now. We're all going to. It's not going to be a haircut we're taking. We're going to be taking a full-blown shave. So the rubber's got to, meet the road. Somewhere it's got to give.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting because history bears out. Now, I know it's sacrilege to talk about tax cuts, especially in front of leftists. But my concern is that the things that are being put in place now and on the federal level are not going to be sunsetted. And I think they should be. In other words, all this aid and stuff, I believe it should be a sunset. I don't think they should keep a bunch of, but we're already hearing that from the Cuomos and the Insleys of the world. Those governors are already saying, this is a pretty good idea what we're doing. Let's keep this. And that happened under Wilson and it happened under FDR. So my fear is, as long as you're trying to get things shoved down the American people's throat, not you, but the governor, why don't we put some things in there that really benefit the people? Why don't we say that, well, this is going to happen, but the good news is on, January 1, 2021, you're going to get a cut in property tax. But I don't think the unions would even allow that.
No, or how about this? This is one-time money, and that's what happened with the stimulus money when we had the recession before, right? All the school districts were given a certain amount of money. It was federal stimulus dollars, and legislators went around to all those districts and said, this is one-time money. Do not build it into your budget because you will not be getting it again. And what did they do? They came back and said, you cut our budgets. That'd be like my grandmother gave me a gift for Christmas of $100, and next year she only gave me $50. And I said, Grandma, you cut my budget.
Very good. No, it's a wonderful example, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they've been running on it since. That's what they said to Corbett. Corbett cut our budget by this. It's a lie. They're a bunch of liars. Your budget did not get cut, and you were told it is one-time money. It's a gift.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking how many people ignorantly believe that lie that Corbett cut the budget. But what you just said, that's probably easier than most people explain it. But that's exactly what happens. And I'm afraid that's going to happen now with the bailout.
Yep. And because so much of this says, like, you can't beat that into your current budget, right? So it's going to be new programs. And then when the money's not there, because it's only a one-time appropriation, then they're going to be coming back and saying, oh, my gosh, you have to fund this again. We need more money. I can't believe how many letters I've gotten already, people asking for child care, like, want me to continue paying the stipends even though kids aren't going to child care, want me to pay for it over the summer. I said, we've got $1.2 million 2 million people on unemployment comp. Child care won't be an issue if we can't get them back to work.
Wow. And there's so much, and I noticed the governor yesterday, even when he gave his message, he said and it jumped out at me, and I said to Art, he didn't even flinch when he said it. The free meals will continue.
Yeah, we can't educate them. We couldn't get anybody mandated to educate, but we did get the free meals, and you don't even have to qualify, anything to qualify. We fed them, can't educate them.
And nothing is for free. You and I are paying for it, So,
right. And maybe no guarantee that our property taxes won't go up again in the midst of this.
Hey, can you stick around when we come back from the commercial break? I want to drill a little bit deeper into the latest COVID-19 news with you.
Yes, sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back with State Rep Dawn Keefer. So the Pennsylvania State Department of Health has a new map. By the way, my guest is Representative Dawn Keefer. It's good to have you back on the show. So there's a new map out, and this map shows how many hospital beds, ventilators, et cetera, Pennsylvania has available in each county. So I'm just looking over the map, and it's a colorful map, and it says, we have 9 here and 578 here, and there's how many beds and whatever. And I put this on my Facebook page earlier this morning, and I've already gotten several messages from people that are legitimately in some of these hospitals. They don't want to be mentioned because they don't want to lose their job. You know what happens when you speak the truth in a Democrat administration. Hell can break loose. And they said, we've got plenty of masks. But I mentioned at the top of the show, I don't know if you heard it, it says county by county, we're going to run out of, we're going to run out of masks in less than a week. There are some hospitals that won't have enough PPE in less than a week. And I don't understand where that's coming from, because no one has. I've had one call, and it was like 10 days ago, where they said, we don't have enough masks. But what are you hearing?
I'm not hearing that right now. I mean, we have a lot of resourceful people, I'll tell you that. So we have a lot of different manufacturing companies that have adapted and changed and are manufacturing masks, PPE. They're also manufacturing hand sanitizer. I know a couple sources in Cumberland, so they're well stocked. York, which I cover, we've got numerous manufacturers doing that, so we're covered. So I'm not aware. I'm going to say probably the Northeast and the Southeast, where it's been hit harder, they probably have a greater demand on their resources. But, the governor made his call not yesterday, the day before, where he said, okay, now I want every manufacturer, every health facility to inventory, send your list to PEMA, and send your supplies to PEMA, and we will redistribute as needed.
Redistribution is also a cornerstone of the left. Here's the actual figures I have, and I got tongue-tied at the beginning because I misplaced my pile of preparation, my papers here. This is from the Hospital Association of Pennsylvania. They indicated that roughly 85% of hospitals in the state expect to run out of N95 masks in less than a week. 41% expect to run out by Monday. This is according to WHYY. Now, that is such a horrific headline. That story is terrifying, but I keep getting emails from nurses that say we're fine. Thanks for the support. We've got what we need. So what is it, Right,
and it varies county by county, and trying to get all that information. And the other part is our Department of Health is keeping all the information close to the vest. I'm in a fight with them right now, or they won't release information that has always been released to the coroners, the county coroners. They're in a standoff with that data, and the county coroners are getting really frustrated because they can't provide the needed protection to their first responders. Just if they know the information, they know where the COVID deaths are, they can make sure that the appropriate first responders are protected, or at least tested, or whatever precautions need to be taken. They're not getting that. The state refuses and says they don't have to give them that information. So
yeah, we're getting limited information on cause of death.
Yep. This administration has done everything in a bubble, so they are not including anybody. Everybody is the outside, and they're pushing the information out. Here's the information. That's it. They close the doors. You can't ask questions. You can't get your questions answered. It is absolutely infuriating right now as a state legislator.
Well, I can only hope that those figures are, and I said at the top of the show, maybe they're a projection, maybe they're a model, how those work. But I'm just saying, I hope they got that wrong, because that would be really bad, bad percentages of not having PPE. And as far as the CDC, that's the same complaint that governors are making from around the country, that the CDC is holding back certain pieces of the information. And I speculate, because this is how my brain works, that they're holding back pieces of information that may or may not make the president look good. That's what I speculate. I could be wrong, but now we're starting to find out that he's actually been doing a good job.
Yeah, well, we got to keep the panic going, right? We're in a perpetual state of panic, and so we got to always make sure that we don't have what we need, or we might peak, or 100 more people might die tomorrow. I mean, we got to keep that panic going, so everybody, is scared to death. Because God forbid we give them accurate, practical information. Let's just all hunker down into the fetal position until May 1. Maybe we'll let you know if that needs to be June. But you just shut up, sit there, and listen. We'll tell you what you need to do. And I'm shocked by how many people are doing it.
And now you know, ladies and gentlemen, why we have Representative Dawn Keefer on the show.
I'm furious.
It's just
furious.
Well, it's refreshing to hear. What's that?
We got to get to his latest announcement here, where he's going to release the prisoners.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We haven't even got that. And we have like a minute left. Yeah. Isn't that great? You cannot go to church this weekend. However, we're letting prisoners out. Where are they going to go?
That's what we're asking. Have you tested them? So Secretary Wetzel's saying, "Oh, we can't. They're not safe in here. They may have been exposed." So you're going to let people. You don't know if they've been exposed now. Well, we have had a stay-in-place order, and you're just going to let 1,800 prisoners go out and about. Where are they going? Are they going to have to quarantine? Do they have places to go? This is absolutely ludicrous.
Well, I just hope they know that they can't go to the liquor stores because they're all closed. So they'll have to order online. So they're going to have to jack someone's laptop.
Well, they'll be able to get their marijuana, the medical marijuana. They're open, and their needles. We can get them their needle exchanges, too. So they'll be able to do that as well.
On that note, I hope you and your family have a blessed Easter, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.
All right, so that ends my show for tonight, everyone. I hope you have a happy Easter weekend. This is Walter from iWalter. Sign off for now. I'm going to play the piece from Matt, music teacher guy, called Letter E. And he wrote something else afterwards. I don't know. So have a good one.